So, you want to know how to write? Well, the chances are you already do. That means you're a writer. Okay, so first things first. Just grab something from the side. Have notebooks. Have lots of notebooks. And write down everything. I don't know if the lights are running off this paper or you can see, but I've made loads of notes in this little notebook. And so have notebooks, one or more than one, and write things down. When you have an idea for a story or something which you think could turn into a story, it can be anything, any little thing, any spark, write it down. Write down as much detail as you can, and you don't even have to start writing it right then. Just write the idea down, and then you can go back to it later and review it. Okay? And number 2, I have lots of books about writing tips. I'm not suggesting that, I'm not trying to sell these. You can pick up little bits of information that's helpful from all these books. You know, there's a huge market out there trying to flog you these things, and I have more than just this 3, but sometimes it's a bit of a waste of money because I have so many and they're not all very useful, but every time you read one you learn things. If you learn at least one thing from that book, then maybe it was a good investment. Tip number 3, I don't know if that was really a tip anyway, was it? Visit websites, and websites about writing, and do research on those. You can get good tips from the websites if you go to the right ones. I should perhaps have made a list to help you. The ones I've got here are from writerswelcome.com. I found a few good tips on that. And Writers Centre Norwich.org.uk. I found a couple of good tips on there as well. And there's loads out there. You know, the publishers have websites, and literary agents mostly have websites, even if it's just with the agent's contact details on. And you'll find lots of tips out there if you search for them. And any tips is good because it can improve you as a writer and your work, can't it? So, and when you start writing, if you write it on the computer, have memory sticks. These are my 2. I have one which I use mainly all the time, this one, and one which I use as a backup. I haven't backed up in a while, but it's always good to have a backup, because if something goes wrong with your main one and you don't have a backup, you know, if you lose it or it gets damaged or something terrible, your work is lost unless you have a backup. That's where that comes in handy. You just need to remember to back it up regularly, just so you've got that safety net. So that's tip number 4. And if you don't buy any other book about writing, the one I would suggest is this, The Writer's Block. And it is a block, and writer's block can be a big problem. I know I've had it, and I'm suffering from it right now, because there's a story which I started working on, and I started rewriting it, and then even though I've planned out lots of points along the story, I know where it's going, I've got to this certain point and I've just got stuck, you know. It's like, what do I write that happens next? And I don't know, so I'll put it aside, and I haven't written that story for a long time. But when I go back to it, hopefully I'll get something, you know, a spark, and I'll be able to carry on. I think your brain, when you have writer's block, your brain keeps working away on the problem. Even if you're not consciously thinking about it, in the back of your mind, your brain is always working because it's a problem and it's looking for a solution. And one day you'll get that aha, you know, and you'll know what to do next, and that's it. So this writer's block is full of just loads of random ideas, and it's brilliant. So I would recommend this. It's written by Jason, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, Rekulak, done by Running Press. If you can get hold of this book, it would be really brilliant. I'm starting to mumble now, sorry. So there's that. And just write. If you write fiction like I do, then it's a good idea to be well read as well. Hopefully you know what I mean by that. Read other people's books. It can be the best in the business. Like Stephen King is really well known, but maybe he's not the genre that you're writing about. But you can still learn. And Stephanie Meyer, I don't even know how to pronounce the last name. Sorry, that's terrible. I've just butchered her name. She's done Twilight, and she's quite new as far as published writers go, but the success she's had, you could probably learn from her, or just enjoy reading her books and see how she does it, you know, because she's had success, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm looking at my books off camera. The only person I can think of at the top of my head I would count as being in the bracket best in the business, I'm mumbling over my words here, sorry, is Stephen King, but there are way more. I just can't think of them right now, sorry. And yeah, I've probably said this already, just write. Do what you know. Yes, that's a good tip, isn't it? Write what you know. They always say that, and sometimes you think, maybe that's rubbish, but it's true, isn't it? If you write what you know, then it sounds more real. It comes across better, I think. I've been writing stories sometimes that are set in another country, and I've never been there, I've never lived there, so perhaps it doesn't sound as good as when I write them from the point of view of being in this country and locally, because you can connect more, and if you're connecting more with the story and the situation and the environment the story in, it comes across better to the readers, you know. And submit if you have something that you want to get published. Submit to the literary agents and just keep submitting. If you get rejected, just shrug it off. You're just the most recent on the long list of rejections that they do. It's not personal. Well, sometimes perhaps it is, but don't take it personally. They do that to so many people, like every week. So don't let it get you down. Just keep going. These are my rejection letters. There's quite a few of them. It's probably a bit sad that I've kept them all, but I don't keep them to remind myself how I've failed or how I've not got my foot in the door with that one. I just keep them so I know that I've submitted to these agencies and they've all said no. I've lost my train of thought now. So submit and don't let the rejections get you down. And one day you'll submit to the right agent or get them on the right day, or I don't know what the criteria is, which ticks all the boxes for them, and they think, yes, this is it, this is the next big thing, or you know, whatever they think, and then you will get that wonderful letter that asks you to see your whole story. I haven't had one of those yet, I'm still waiting, I'm sure you are too, but it'll come one day, and if it doesn't, all you can do is hold out hope, because if you haven't got hope, then you've got nothing. You know, you're just writing for your own personal pleasure, which is brilliant, that's good, that's what I feel like I'm doing, but it would be good to share it, wouldn't it? Share it with the world, that's what we all strive for. Is there anything else that I want to say, anything else important I missed out? I just need to think for a minute before I think about signing off. Just looking behind me at where I keep my writing. I don't think I've forgotten anything. Yes, there's one more thing. Let me just reach over here and get it. Something falling on the floor. This book is a Lifeline Writers and Artists Yearbook. This is a couple of years old now, but this, if you haven't heard of this, you're missing out, because the Writers and Artists Yearbook is like Bible of every literary agent pretty much in the world. If you're in the UK, this is the UK one. I don't know if the Americans have a separate version of this or a different company that makes something similar. They probably do, but and it's got every literary agent that's worth writing to, and probably some that aren't, I don't know, but in this book, and also some from abroad, they have a list of separate countries, and they list agents by country, but the section for that stuff is smaller than the stuff for the UK, and they don't just have the agent's contact details, they have tips and other stuff in here as well. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm sorry if I mumbled a bit. I hope you've understood everything I've said about this book. But buy the current version of this. If you haven't got one of these, it's a really good investment, because that is where I find pretty much all of the literary agents that I write to. I find them in these books. I don't have a current version of this book for this year, but I really should get one, because it's the Bible as far as we're concerned. So thank you for watching. I hope you found my tips really helpful. If you have anything to say, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments section below. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.